Are you just gonna steal my chair?
Today, we're going to be talking about the wedding hangover. The wedding hangover. While yes, you could be a guest or a member of the wedding party and maybe had one too many drinks at the wedding, danced a lot, the next day you might wake up with a splitting headache. Unfortunately, that's not what I'm referring to. I am referring more to the overall destruction of your body the following day of a wedding. The wedding couple can definitely go through this because you guys are going crazy the entire day. And it's not just the physicality that goes into account here, but it's the mental stress from the day's events. You're constantly worried about this, that I am going to give you couples out there some amazing tips on how to get over your wedding hangover and some do's and don'ts. But this is mostly for the other wedding vendors out there. And while I can't speak to all the wedding vendors, I am singling out the videographers, the photographers, the DJ band, the catering, and the wedding planners. Because I know how hard you guys work and how long you're on your feet for. The wedding hangover is something that is very real. And definitely the further on you get in your career, the more it becomes evident. So first, we're going to talk about some awesome do's and don'ts for you couples out there to help get by the wedding hangover and have an amazing next day and a couple days after. Then we're going to get into the vendor stuff where I'm going to give you some actual amazing tips that it took me years to figure out and I'm still struggling with after every shoot. For you wedding couples, I'm going to go ahead and say this. You are going to be exhausted by the end of the night. Everyone likes to say the day's going to go by faster than you think it will, and that's true, it will. But by 11 o'clock, midnight, you are going to be exhausted, and I know a lot of you guys want to do after parties and some fun stuff like later on in the night. Expect just to go back to the hotel or to home and just crash. You're going to be exhausted. I would also advise not planning anything extraneous for the next morning. Yeah, getting up in the morning to have a brunch with the family, getting to hang out with your friends and family, that kind of like light entertainment with everyone is really nice. But I would highly suggest don't plan your flight out for your honeymoon the next morning. You are going to be exhausted. And then if you got to be on a plane at 6 o'clock in the morning, you are not going to be happy. If you have the ability to, sleep in and relax. Meet up with friends and family about noonish, but sleep in. You guys have been planning this wedding for so long and everything came together well. Don't rush to the next day. Just bask in it, enjoy it, and it's wonderful. Now for you vendors out there, we are on our feet all day. If you get a chance to sit down for 2 or 3 minutes for a meal during the reception, that is insanely lucky. Now this tip goes for both wedding couples and vendors, but make sure you're eating food throughout the day. I think a little bit goes a long way. After every wedding, I like to go out for tacos at the end of the night, and I'll maybe eat 1 or 2, but I just sit there completely drained. And when I get home, my brain is still firing 1,000 miles an hour, but my body says no. Now, it's at the nighttime and the next morning when you're really going to feel it. I have woken up so many times screaming from leg cramps, from pains in my back. There are a few ways to get through this and get around it and to have a better next day. Forget about Gatorade, forget about any of those type of sports drinks. This stuff is awesome. This was recommended to me by a firefighter friend of mine. This is Pedialyte, or any kind of little kid emergency drink. This is called Pediatric Electrolyte, oral electrolyte solution, and it's designed for kids, but firefighters and emergency responders will have this for victims who need to be rehydrated out of fires or accidents, emergencies. This is fantastic to have by hand, and I will say it does not taste that good, but it works, and it works far better than any other sports drinks. The next thing to have on hand is ibuprofen, or any kind of pain reliever. Now, I like ibuprofen because it's kind of like a muscle relaxant, but the problem with ibuprofen is you get very used to them very easy, and after a wedding, I typically take about 12 to 18 of these just so I can sleep. And then the next morning, I'm taking another 15 or so. I don't like using these if I can help it. Now, to actually get to sleep, I started using these. These are ZzzQuil, and I know there's off-brand ones too, but this is just a giant chunk of melatonin which calms your brain and actually makes you fall asleep easier. Now, if you're on your feet like a normal vendor is, your legs are going to be on fire the next day and probably that night. Like I said, I wake up crying in the middle of the night from leg pain. So I started using these. These are leg cramp pills. They're not great, but I can feel a difference throughout the night, and it makes me sleep a little bit easier. One of the other things that I use on a regular basis, this isn't just like the day before a wedding or a day after a wedding, but I take these every day, is magnesium. And magnesium really helps get the cramps out of your body. Obviously, I'm a trained doctor, and all of this information is relevant and medically accurate. The absolute best thing I have found for a wedding hangover are CBD gummies. Now, CBD gummies come in a far range of different styles, money, and types. This is 1,000 milligrams of CBD gummies, but the dosage in the actual gummies is very low, so it's not very good. So I need to take about 5 or 6 of these before I can actually start feeling my muscles relax. What I would recommend if you're looking for CBD is a company called Pure Kana, and you can buy these online. Again, it's totally legal. Make sure your state allows it. But these have saved my butt so many times, from wild amounts of pain to stress. I take 2 of these and I feel calm and my muscles don't hurt. And the next day I'm not screaming at the top of my lungs whenever I take a step. So I just take 2 of these little gummies here. And that's good for an entire night. Now, a great natural source to get rid of cramps, to get rid of this fatigue, is bananas. But you have to eat a lot of bananas to get this feeling. I usually eat about 4 or 5 a day on a wedding day, and it really doesn't do much. So I usually have a bunch the next morning, and that's all I eat the day after a wedding, pretty much. The day after a wedding, I'm usually in a lot of discomfort. Walking around really hurts. All my joints hurt, my muscles hurt. So I always make sure I stretch the night before a wedding and the night of a wedding. As soon as I get home and I take that shower, I lay on the floor for like 5-6 minutes and just stretch. And while it is infuriatingly painful, it does help the next morning. All right, guys, I hope this helps. I hope this helps you wedding couples out there. I hope this helps other wedding vendors out there. Thank you so much for watching. I'm Jason. It's been a pleasure doing this, and I look forward to doing more of these soon. Be on the lookout for our web series Vendors coming very soon. We're aiming to start releasing them mid-July or end of July, where I sit down with the leading wedding industry professionals and we ask all the questions about wedding planning that you don't even know to ask yet. So check that out. We're going to be exploding that online very soon. I hope you are having an amazing day. Be better and do something amazing today.